Welcome everybody once again. Nice to meet you here. As Adrius mentioned, my name is Przemek, and I am the analyst in the seed team from Google. I started my journey with performance marketing in 2005, I believe, as a direct marketing specialist. And this was the time when Google introduced ads in Europe. Since then, I have been working for big and small companies with a focus on data-driven marketing activities, not only with Google, but also with other big players, right? Like, for example, Facebook, a little bit later. For the last 9 years, I've been working in Google as an analyst, helping companies to grow based on data-driven marketing decisions. And last 5 years, I've been focusing with Audrius in team on helping, focusing on startups from C region with the two main goals in mind: rapid growth and help companies go global. I think that's enough about me. Let's get down to the business because we are a little bit late. And let's find out if we can put some a fresh light on the approach for marketing strategists and even far beyond. Some new ideas for young businesses to achieve a competitive advantage. So, with my promise in the description of this masterclass, I will try to cover the most critical challenges and solutions that we face in Google while working with the startups that have the highest potential to go global. By that, I mean startups with worldwide reach, or they are like trying to be worldwide, not just regional ones. This is very important. I hope to make this meeting also as interactive as possible. So please, guys, use the chat. I will take a look on the chat from time to time, and I will try to interact with you. If you have any questions and statements, I will try to cover this during the class. If something is a bigger topic, which require further explanation and elaboration, I will try to go in the greater detail during the Q&A session at the end, if you have anything else to ask. Hope everyone is ready and the coffee is also is hot for you. Okay, let me show one thing here. Just let's go back with the slides. Also problem. Okay. Let's make some kind of illustrative introduction to all of these interesting business topics. I am actually based in Warsaw practically forever. There is a probability that someone of you can remember this transformational times of this generation, living in Central Eastern Europe, of course. I remember them quite well. For example, this is you see the biggest marketplace in Europe, which was based in Warsaw, in the old National Stadium. It operated from 1990 to almost 2002, where like circa about 25,000 merchants were trading. This was also, as police claim in Poland, the biggest black market for CDs, music, games, and videos, among a vast range of other products, of course. I purchased loads of goods, stuff from this market, as did a lot of Polish people from all over the country. This was also where the biggest companies in Poland started their businesses. But why am I mentioning all of that, this market particular? This is, for me, the symbol of changing times. This was the time where the supply part of the business ruled. Those were, I can easily say, easy times for merchants. You had something to sell, and in most cases, you had like 99% chance of finding someone to buy what you were selling, right? All in one place. The product was in the very center of the transactional relationship we had on the market. You had something, and someone wanted it. Simple scenario, the simplest scenario in this case. Since that, Since then, almost everything has changed, usually. However, at the same time, merchants very often still operates as they did in the old times. I have something to sell, so there must be someone who will really buy it from me, right? And this is not anymore true. We are facing a world where the consumers rule all. Demand rules and supply is totally secondary priority, as we have access to viable merchants around the world within one click. After all, almost everything is manufactured in China, right? You can agree. This is maybe said, but still it is obvious true. This is why marketers have at least 3 different areas of challenges that we also face them in Google. First of this is a category of challenges I call the something like business environment. We can call it also external factors, something independent of us. What are they? You probably all know it for sure, but we have to mention them. First of all, we have some kind of fact that almost 90% of all consumers, as we, use more than one device on their path to purchase. In the same time, like 39 or 35, 37% of the users of them use more than 2 traffic sources on the road to conversion. With that being said, we can across a couple of different challenges as companies. We struggle to understand consumers because of 2 main phenomena. I mentioned first, people are moving between devices. This is called multi-screen phenomenon, while making decisions and purchases. And while deciding what they would like to buy, they also use many ways to reach the decisions. And I'm calling this, and we are referring to something called multi-channel. So because of that, we cannot be sure what the client's decision was based upon when compared to our competitors' offers. This situation might mean that the company's marketing strategy is far from efficient, or worse, doomed to fail. I don't know if you have witnessed that, but this is the common true among our clients as well. The second factor is that we are facing the almost ideal competitive environment in media such Google or Facebook. This is the example of course, the Google, but it's something similar to other media. In this media, we call them auction media. All advertisers are almost equal for the system. There are the same regulations and circumstances for each player. It doesn't matter if you are the biggest player on the market or you are a single entrepreneur. If you want to reach the same target group of users, you have equal entry conditions. This is simple. This creates a unique market condition, as media platforms has almost 90% reach to all target groups of most companies in the world. And this is the second. The third external factor we are up against is something I call value centralization. We all know the Pareto principle, right? It is present in almost every aspect of our lives. But in reality, we are facing even something that we can refer something to something called like Pareto principle squared even. So more and more often, we can see that far less than 10% of the client base is responsible for over 90% of revenue. We define them, those clients, as whales from the gaming industry, really. Take a look on this Google Analytics report with some segmented user groups. In a given period, little more than 2% of all e-commerce store users created over 70% of revenue. So what should be probably the main strategy for all those for most companies? To look for and get all of those whales from the market, right? In auction media, we can call this situation where we are trying to find and acquire whales users in a certain so-called pool of all users. And this is something interesting, also taken from the not only auction media, but gaming industry. A pool of users exists in all auction media-based media, where advertisers pay to acquire users with a certain characteristics. For example, in Google search, we can pay for attract users that search for certain thing or are interested in specific topics, okay? During auctions, the system looks for users to show your ads to based on your setting like bid, quality, and other factors. The pool can be bigger or smaller depending on the campaign and bidding settings. So not every advertiser will reach all available whales because only a small number of them are present out of the picked pool due to the user settings. Hope you are still with me, and we will be getting back to this pool of users a little bit later, but this is a quite important to picture. I don't know, guys, if you have any questions right now. I'm taking a look on the chat because I cannot operate this very easily. I see you didn't mention anything. Okay. Let's go back to presentation. Hope everything is clear right now, till now, okay? Yeah, so let's get back to the presentation. So having experienced those external big challenges in business operation and marketing, our industry usually has appeared to have found a perfect solution. Which is very funny. You will find that right in a second. Combat those challenges with technology and especially machine learning. There has been quite strong trend to hire high-tech solutions to overcome the aforementioned problems. In many cases, companies are focusing on fancy tools closely connected to machine learning, obviously, hoping that smart solutions and artificial intelligence will deal with what we couldn't or can't overcome. Although ML and AI can do and will probably supercharge marketing efforts, but it won't happen by itself. This is hopefully quite obvious. Many conditions have to be met to really make effective use of those kind of tools. Precarious situation may arise even, and it happens very often, if machine learning and AI are unable to predict something that they won't serve the company well. They often may do more harm than good because bad conclusions created by these tools are often taken for granted by the management and turn the company in bad direction. This all is mainly due to one main fact. For most companies today, data landscape is fragmented and disjoint. Different sets of data on our clients live in different siloed databases. For example, your online store isn't aware that a customer called a support center regarding for example, recent purchase. On the other hand, your call center doesn't know the product categories the client is most interested in by their browsing behavior. Your CRM system doesn't have the predicted lifetime value of each customer. And your probably loyalty program isn't aware of clients' actions taken with your partner, right? I don't know if you are facing this within your company, but this is a very common situation. So under these circumstances, machine learning and other fancy AI tools are unable to make any reasonable decisions. They just won't work without a proper set of data which refers to the whole business picture. As simple as that. Additionally, to all of that, those frequent wrong conclusions upon fragmented data create limited trust among marketers to be able to really efficiently measure and enhance performance based on data. What even funnier is that lack of trust creates the tendency among companies, and we are seeing this very, very often, to buy and use even more tools which are supposed to measure the performance of marketing, and everyone hopes for some magic, hopes for some magic to happen. I need not mention that every tool has a slightly different methodology for measuring performance. And so we have even more confusion. If we add that every different part of the organization uses different tools, then we have a nice found for a really big problem in the company. According to a consultancy group, the biggest organization utilize more than even 6 measurement analytical tools at once. More tools should mean more insights, not more confusion, and it is too often quite the opposite. Hope this is quite clear, and hopefully not in your company. And the last, the third, let's say, a group of factors, but not least, of course, is the challenge of approach to marketing success metrics. And this is also very, very critical. Now, if we, for example, take this concrete example, which advertiser is doing better based on these metrics? Probably you could say that advertisers, number one, as historically advertisers are focused on achieving efficient results that are based on auction media KPI, like CPC, CPA, CTR, I don't know, ROI, and of course ROAS. So the goal would be to achieve the cheapest CPA and the highest ROI, right? In order to achieve the most critical business objective. But are these the right metrics or KPIs that we should look at? In fact, to be perfectly honest, KPIs are quite connected straightly with ROI, are quite dangerous for any company that operates in the environment that we talked about earlier, like media auction. So what we can do about it, what approach should we take towards growing our organization strategically in the current environment? We can deal with the hard competitions, overwhelming technology, and the necessity to change and discover new success metrics in marketing. How can we do that? To answer those questions, to answer is quite simple. And for me, and probably, hopefully for most of you, is quite obvious. Hire the right people. Interestingly, we are experiencing the biggest demand on human resources nowadays as technology gains more and more importance. This is interesting. Maybe this is a good news for all of us. Although machine learning is streamlining the marketing processes, and this can be seen nowadays and right now, people still be playing a critical role, even when we estimate that almost in every 2 jobs have a high risk of being automated by machines. Machines cannot do things that require a novel approach or are based on something they haven't already seen many, many times before. And this is our chance to win. Not win with the, for example, Skynet, but with the competition, of course, right? And this is the slight different. So we are heading towards full automation and a new era of media based on automated auctions, and this is quite obvious. That's why instead of hardworking performance campaign designers and, for example, managers on Google or Facebook, I don't know, we call them usually a marketing specialist. We need a new set of marketers that are less focused, which is can be weird for a while, on tech, and more on the strategic approach with tech solution awareness in mind. And that's very, very a big difference. History has almost gone full circle because of that. You will get my point in a minute. But if we agree with the previous statements, considering the current business environment, what would be the most important focus to have in our company? Hire or grow? What would be, according to you, any ideas that you have? What would be the most important thing first? What is the first and most important thing to build as a solid foundation? Does anyone can really answer the question? What would be the first most important ability among new set or new generation of marketers? Is there anyone else here that can answer this question in the chat, for example? Can anyone ask or answer the question? Probably, I hope I can see. No? So I will answer myself, okay? This of course will be data. Data and furthermore data integration. This is the first and most critical step for building a successful company driven by data and modern and fancy technologies. This is fairly new, but critical duty of marketers, not IT even, to keep data integrated and solid. Marketers have to turn into strategic planners with analytical thinking in mind and data-driven mindset. And this is quite important. The main idea within the company is to create something called one source of truth and de-silo data in the organization. Ideally, we should keep all the data about users in one place. Have a holistic repository of raw data. In the same time, it is also critical to have a marketing staff that not only understands the urgent need of having one source of truth to make any decisions, but also they should be, and we should be aware how it should be built, even if it will be only from the big perspective. We don't have to be very, very technical. We have to know how we should do it and what we can expect. In practice, native cloud solutions, like for example, of course, Google Cloud, are easy to fit with the data and unify them with the various from the various sources. And this is quite often used by us, of course. What we as a company, as Google usually recommend, is also treat Google Analytics as a main source of truth for marketing purposes. This is dictated by the fact that Google Analytics uses a unique anonymous data called Google Signals. I don't know if everyone knows what Google Signals is or are, but this is signals about users from Google properties, like, for example, YouTube, search, GDN, and many more. This enhances our knowledge of website or app users' characteristics and help to create high quality segment and audience for marketing purposes, especially in Google Ad platforms, but not only, of course. This so-called one source of truth and this kind of change in the mindset of the company can help de-silo the organization and let all parties in the organization use and understand the same data, as well as contribute towards predictive purposes. With the use of machine learning and AI tools, of course, after we do all the homework with the data integration. Another critical ability that any new set of marketers should focus on is setting, and which is very important, setting right objective and goals based on the proper metrics and integrate data amongst whole company, whole organization. So this is the second one. Remember, guys, I mentioned the ROI and or ROAS approach, which is still very, very popular. What is the problem with this current with this approach in the current times? Frankly speaking, I can say this: using ROI or ROAS as a main success metric or main business objective can be and is de facto very dangerous for future of any company in the present business environment. Why? This is especially when we plan to or already treat auction media as a main source of important source of clients. That's why I am talking about conclusions about how important is not using ROI or ROAS when we are mainly dealing with auction media. Because as you probably know, and I want to explain it a little bit more, auction media is a very specific medium, which gives an equal chances, as I mentioned before, to every advertiser to reach the users that they want, no matter what the size and wealth of the advertiser is, right? But there is another side of that coin. We have to be ready to deal with really hard and smart players who are desperate to attract and acquire the most valuable users on the market. I mean, those whales, remember? Some of them are blindly, but some of them act blindly, but most of them who actively operate for more than a couple of months usually know what they are doing. And the longer they are operate, the harder it will be to beat them. But this is very likely that there is still very few of them on your markets, as we see it already. So what can we do to be successful in auction media? In order to achieve success, or at least make it real, we have to understand two things. First of all, are the specifics of this medium, so we understand what we are dealing with, and secondly, who we really want to acquire, and if we are able to pay for them this or such amount of money. So in other words, understanding the users and clients based on data which had been gathered earlier, as we mentioned. Let's deal with the specifics of the auction media on the Google Ad example. So we can say that the biggest players are quite similar in terms of operating. I mean, Facebook, Google, etc. They are doing really very similar things. To be successful in Google Ads, an advertiser's ads should be shown to the right audience at the right time with the right message, right? I think this is perfectly obvious to all of us. But there are some also technical factors behind it. First is how much we are willing to pay for certain user. No matter if this is another metric like CPC or CPM, it's always about how much we can pay for the certain user. Second is the quality of ads shown to the user. And the third, of course, is how much money we can spend, I mean the budget. These three factors are responsible for the frequency and position, which in the situation is, of course, visibility of an ad to a user. The higher the CPA, quality and budget, the higher the chance an advertiser has reach and eventually acquire a certain demanded user. First come, first served, that's it. After all, in any certain industry, we are fighting for the same users, and preferably that would be whales, right? So that being said, let's take a look at this simple example of an experiment ran by some of our direct customer previously. As you can see here, the higher ROI creates a much smaller total profit. This is a very common situation that in focusing on ROI, we miss opportunities to really extend our campaigns. By raising CPA from 50 euros to 100 euros, the campaign gets top shelf ranking, top positions, I mean, much more often, and therefore gets many more clicks, conversion, and profits after all. So, did your cost go up? Yes, in this example. Did your efficiency go down? Yes, of course, ROI went down. But what happened to profits? They went up. And this is most critical and most smart decision that could be made by the certain advertiser. Again, if we are focusing on ROI, we tend to acquire less and less traffic, which decreases the scale of campaign and eventually overall profits. If we continue with this approach, we would probably finish with a very high ROI, but only a few items sold, which would probably make all of these marketing activities pointless from the, of course, business point of view. Hope that this is acceptable by you, and you understand my approach and my point of view, because this is very critical in terms of setting metrics, success metrics, and objectives. And this all also means that we are turning into different metrics and also different KPIs, and even whole different philosophy of running businesses. So using CPC, CPA, and ROAS as the primary metrics is, of course, effective to some point, but it leaves opportunity on the table. CPA only looks at cost to acquire and not the actual business impact driven by the revenue from all the conversions during the lifetime value. I don't even want to mention ROAS because it's also efficiency metric, efficient, but it ignores revenue and volume and the potential. Profit is the closest metric to most companies' business goals and profits based on customer lifetime value and customer equity, so-called. And this is most accurate metrics we can use, and we should probably we should use them. And this is something. This is my favorite slide. I love ketchup. All the ketchup in the world, really. But this picture, like moving towards LTV metric, can show one thing. We can focus not only on the amount of products sold based on positive ROI, because this is narrowing our potential, but on acquiring users with certain value for the company. And this shifts is a huge thing. This changes everything in organization, from assessing the success of the marketing campaigns to even altering the approach to customer service and, I don't know, internal company roles and responsibilities, because usually LTV changes everything in the company. As the matter of fact, to be precise, we analyzed some time ago about 500 advertisers at Google, and while this is not something scientific, we can see clear pattern that companies that use LTV approach as a primary metric and strategic thinking easily control the market share, referring to the we are referring, of course, to auction media, but even beyond. And this is a very important observation. Let's take a look at this example to just confirm what I talked about earlier, which is quite a similar one to previous example. If we take into consideration what we said about the specifics of the auction in Google Ads, for example, which advertiser will do or will win the auction, when of course meet at the same time during the auction to fight for certain clients, the answer is rather obvious. Advertisers, this is two, which means the second one, offers 50 times more for a certain client to acquire than advertisers want. If you look from the system perspective, there are no other options for the system to pick the advertisers second. There is, of course, some kind of safety factor because advertisers second has to reach some kind of certain acceptable level of quality to be shown, of course. But this is worth to know. The system will, of course, let also advertisers one win some kind of auctions and get some users or buy some users, but the problem is not about matter of winning or losing the auction, but it's rather the matter of scaling and quality of gained users. Hope that this is quite obvious. I'm not seeing the chat room, so guys, I don't know if you are there any questions here right now? No. Yeah. Okay. Guys, hopefully we will be doing some kind of Q&As later. Okay, coming back to the presentation. Yeah. So we of course hopefully this example is quite obvious. Bidding is almost half percentage or half success of the auction, right? And this is quite obvious for the systems like Google and Facebook because obviously this is our business model. Okay, so but also we have to remember that the LTV approach does have a darker side. And it's, of course, called risk. And the risk is greater than ROI. As you can imagine, when we bid over the LTV metric, we are paying for the future revenue from the user. So we hope they do eventually spend the sum of $500 or euro, as I mentioned, during the whole cycle with our company. Whenever you have no plan for either keeping or extending the life cycle or increasing its value, we can assume we risk some serious losses over time. So having a plan to handle and manage the life cycle and its value before we even start bidding on the LTV is a quite important factor. Again, for me, a strategic way of thinking about marketing and not only campaign management is a critical factor here. And I am just coming back to to thinking about the new role for marketings and also acquisition or hiring the new kind of marketers. Not only that I can operate within Google Ads campaigns or Facebook campaigns, for example. Okay, so yeah, coming to the slide. Now, there is also one very important thing. There is not something like one LTV value in a company as, for example, average. According to LTV, the average should not exist in company at all as a metric. Before we can place any bids based on LTV, we have to segment our customer base by value and behavior and set the LTV for each segment. And here is why it is so important. If we bid only by average LTV and even other simple metric like ROAS, we very often underestimate the best group of users. We underinvest to be precise, and we overpay for others. In the end, our performance is a shot in the dark, as I can say that. And if we are lucky, we won't get out of the business any later than we should. This is hard, but this is true. And the last but not least very important skill that we are missing for a very while, let's say, in performance especially, is being creative. What I mean by that? For the last couple of years, we were amazed by the technology. Someone who could really operate within Google Ads, Facebook campaigns, etc., was very important for the market, and every company wanted to have this kind of specialist. We claim that the performance marketing is nothing more than numbers and measuring outcomes, some interfaces, and etc. But remember, we all have access to the same technology. And as money is not an obstacle anymore, and thanks to, of course, not only the money on the market for fancy new startups, but mainly because the auction media are not based on the amount of money that we can spend. And this media are not exclusive to the biggest players. We can find only one differentiator on the market because of that: our creativity. I'm talking not about some fancy billboards and eye-catching banners, but not only this, at least. I'm talking about creativity when building a strategy, building relationship with clients, and being flexible according to what there is to offer with selling proposition. I mean, for example, USP, right? But being creative should not disperse our focus from clients, and this is very important. We should have this very easy and very obvious 3-point strategy, and we are using this especially with hyper competitive markets like gaming, where everyone is bidding, for example, or fighting over 1% or even less than 1% clients on the whole market. We established a very easy strategy that works for everybody. Within the company, based on the full value of customer, current and the future, we are also looking especially something we call a customer equity. In a company's long-term strategy, the success and value measurement metrics should be the main goal to nurture. This is why we have to change the focus from selling products and ROI to buying valuable clients and creating strategies for a long relationship, and building the strategies for taking a bigger part of the so-called client's wallet. Of course, this kind of approach also makes us act accordingly against less valuable clients as well. Customer satisfaction is, of course, is of the utmost importance, but valuable customers are paramount. At least should be. Our best hope for the others is that they don't badmouth our company on the market, and that's it. This strategy may seem a little bit cruel, but we have the ability. But this is important. If we have the ability to assess the value of each group of customers, our responsibility as business owners or marketers is to reduce costs and protect our resources as human resources from unprofitable actions. Like, for example, maintaining relationship with the unprofitable customers, and that's as simple as that. This is life and this is business, right? And sorry for not satisfying everyone. This is just business. Yeah. So let's think about the LTV like this. LTV and our company is not about satisfying all the customers, but only the profitable ones according to their value. Any organization hoping to make profits should adjust all of their resources according to the value as well, from marketing to customer service. So sometimes if you, for example, cannot reach your company that you are dealing with cannot reach by phone or emails, probably you are, if they are smart, probably sadly you are not as profitable as they expect. And this is sad but true story. With that being said, if you are at the point where we can create such a perfect marketing team, which you see, which is tech savvy, business oriented, with data in mind and creative at the last, then we can finally talk about boosting the whole machine, this whole machine as company, with fancy new tools like, for example, machine learning and AI, which is pretty easy right now. We needn't fear that those smart solutions will do us harm instead of creating a competitive advantage and complete repetitive task on our behalf, because usually we do and we use machine learning for taking conclusions out of the big amount of data and automate repetitive tasks. And this is most important right now. This is, for example, as I can show you some example, we could, for example, after we do all of this, we could, for example, use ML for predicting the LTV of a potential customers even before we buy them, or predict the value of marketing touch points used for the on the purchase path. For example, on our app via mobile web, which is it profitable or not, for example. This is often used for shifting budgets and enhancing resources allocation among marketing internet properties and teams, because very often it's like that we really don't know what value brings us the mobile app or our mobile web, for example, kind of our web, yeah, mobile kind. So also we can, for example, use the ML for analyzing millions of data points in real time and making smart, optimized decisions to improve businesses' performance. Also, machine learning, like you see, enables, this is a nice picture, enables us to do more at scale and free up time for focus on more strategic tasks, and as I said, being creative, and this is most important thing. Also ML is already present in Google Ads, for example. And this is being done for a while. For example, UAC campaigns, I don't know if you use it, for mobile apps, are fully automated. What is our main purposes as marketers there are just finding the certain objectives, preferably based on LTV, and create the client segments. And then, of course, create the best-in-class creatives and as ads, of course. The rest is being done by ML algorithms, and this is actually future and actually revolution in the marketing industry, pushed by those technologies. I will only mention that Google is developing more and more this kind of automated marketing solution, and it is on its way already. Just mentioning the Performance Max, for example, solution that will come shortly. This is our real world right now. So marketers have to change, or they will vanish. I mean, the old time marketers from the era of knowing only to be a perfect specialist within interfaces of some platforms. To sum up all of this, what I was referring to on this whole masterclass, profitable customers are, of course, everything. To acquire best of them, we have to have new types of marketers that will be so smart to know, hopefully this will be you and me, to use most of the integrated data, use the fancy tools, and being so creative to create a new approach to business and customers. And I think something last but not least, from our seed team, some wisdom. if you see a long way ahead of you after this meeting, just start now with something, even only using some kind of workarounds. The sooner you implement even some of those aforementioned ideas, the faster you have the chance to overcome your competition. Gain some experience and be more aggressive in marketing. I mean, in a good way, but for example, in bidding. This all to attract your best value clients and build long-term strategies for your company growth, based on the whales that will pay for everything else. That's it from my side. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I can answer some questions if there are any. Hopefully everything was as clear as I possibly could deliver it to you. I will go to some chat. What are your favorite books you could recommend that are related to the topics covered here? This is very good question. There is a very nice book. I mean, everything connected to lifetime value, because lifetime value, for example, is very new topic for the last 10 years at least, or 15 years in the education. We are just starting to discover this kind of approach in internet marketing. We are far behind the let's say the education for that matter. But one of my favorite to start with is Customer Centricity. This is a book that opened a lot of minds, even in Google, and Google had to really to read this. So Customer Centricity, I don't remember the author, but this is some kind of professor from United States. You will find it on Amazon for sure. And everything connected to LTV, because technology is getting simpler and simpler. Like machine learning, algorithms, you will only have to pick that you want to use it, and everything will be done for us. We don't have to be statisticians, mathematicians at all. We have to know how to use it. We have to know how to gather the data, how to set objectives, as I showed you, and be creative to differentiate us from our competition. So we are coming back to the bottom of the marketing from the 60s, I think. The Mad Men sitcom, probably you remember, and this is like on the very present. It is fair to say that Andrews, thank you. Companies which can predict LTV most accurately and have a higher LTV than others will emerge victorious at the end. Usually, yeah, this is nice one. We are facing in Google. Usually, we are facing that the very small companies, like for example startups that want to really go global. If they can, let's say, predict lifetime value, they know what they are doing on the current market. They can extrapolate the nice strategies based on the predictive lifetime value, so they can predict how much will be certain segments of customers worth on the other markets. They can be, let's say, I don't know if I can say that, but very aggressive from the marketing perspective. That's being said, in auction media, you are winning all the customers. And probably if you have this first touch with the customers, no others will have touch with this particular customer for some time. If you can create the strategy for keeping the relationships with those acquired users, you are the master, because nobody will really get them from you, right? So yes, if you can calculate LTV based on the structured and combined data within the company, then you can calculate the predictive lifetime value. Overall, you are willing to risk something, and you are creative, yes, I can say like 100%, 90% sure that yes, you will be victorious at the end, because this is everything about being, let's say, in front of the others. So, and really believe me, prediction about lifetime value and understanding this kind of approach is a minority on all markets, not only CE, but even United States and mature markets like Germany and France. Yes, so guys, this is what in terms of recommendations for a fresh CEO, and this is a very critical topic. Audios really struggled to really make me to repeat this on and on, that yes, people are critical right now, and more. The more technology we use, the more careful people and open-minded we have to have in the company. I mean, people that are only focused, if you, for example, looking for someone to hire, let's focus, you should focus on how much this kind of person is willing to learn, how much or how they understand the data. I don't mean can this person can do mathematics or statistics, but is he or she understands for example, some kind of conclusions out of the numbers, trends, for example, not certain numbers, but trends. They can assess the connections between some kind of things that is happening at one side of the company and ends in the other side of the company. So people that are open, creative, and believe me, for example, in Google, most of the analysts like me, I am particular after marketing and management, but most of our best-in-class analysts that are helping companies are philosophists, psychologists, people that are open. They understand, they have this kind of ability of analytical thinking. They are not thinking through averages, and they are willing to learn. And this is most important thing. For example, we have like in Google have to read like at least 50 or 100 articles per day, which is difficult. But everything, and the company is focused on passing the knowledge to the employees, and really use this knowledge, and we are exchanging the experience, what we should learn and how we should learn. So yeah, this willing to learn is a critical one, and ability to think analytical. I don't know if this is the perfect answer, but I think we have to shift from a very much focused people on the numbers to much more open. So we are circle back, I think, to this creativity once again. Yeah. Do we have any other questions, guys? Or folks, as I can say. I don't know if we are behind the schedule. Exactly, Blendy. Analytical thinking is doesn't really equals math or statistics. I was really struggling with statistics at university, and then after a lot of different tests, it came out that I should be an analyst, which was very weird to me. And suddenly it appeared that it doesn't. The knowledge of statistics has nothing to do with a business analytics and this kind of taking decisions and jump to conclusions, right? Thank you, Blendy, because this is very, very important to emphasize this here. We will be all using automated solutions. We of course have to understand how does it work, what is statistics, probably what are the differences between models, but no, we probably won't need this kind of knowledge on our daily job. We need to use it and accordingly to the task we have, yeah, and the objectives we set. Yeah. So this is a perfect statement.
All right. So I think that's it. Let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, Przemek, for doing this, for taking your time. Thanks for everybody who attended. I hope that was useful. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on us on Pine or any other social media. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of TechChill.